Hey everyone, welcome to Horror Movie Massacre from the Horror Syndicate, I guess. Welcome back. We are about 3 weeks away from Halloween, a little bit less than 3 weeks away from Halloween, and we have three Halloween films left before we get to our ranking on Halloween night. So that's pretty exciting. And we finally have gotten to the best four, I think, in my opinion. We did Halloween 4 last week, and then, of course, the week before we did Halloween 5, where Don Shanks watched most of the video, I guess, and decided to like or love or react to people's comments. I think he is going to get us all. I'm nervous. So tonight, like I said, we are talking about Halloween 3, aka just Season of the Witch. Let's just call it Season of the Witch because there are 12 Michael Myers films in one of these. And this, if not for this film, we wouldn't have a lot of butthurt people. If not for this film, we wouldn't have these rad fucking masks. And that catchy jingle from Silver Shamrock. 3 more weeks till Halloween, Halloween. So here is Seth, who shares a deep passion for this film, right, Seth?
That's right. I do. I love it.
When Seth did his Halloween rankings a couple years ago, he copped out because he couldn't choose between this and I think four or two. So he made it 2B and 2A or something like that. And I'm like, no, you got to choose. No cop
Yeah.
outs. Yay, 3 more weeks. So
I'm
we, of
I'm
course,
stick I'm sticking with my cop out.
yeah, no cop outs, my friend. That's why the slash score comes in. We've got comments from Sean Sheridan, as we like to start the show off with. If you are here, please hit that like button. It helps move the page to other people. Share it if you'd like, all that good stuff. Subscribe. We are closing in on 1,400 subs on YouTube. It's fantastic. What was it? 7 away, I think.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
sent that.
awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool that people are taking the time out to hit the subscribe button. But anyway, Sean doesn't like Halloween 3. Uh, he doesn't love it, but it's a good movie. Gotcha. I do like this movie. See, I still feel like if it was detached from, and we're going to get into that too. If it was detached from Halloween, this movie would be one of the best of the 80s. Uh, what say you on that, Seth?
Yeah, it's very possible because there are because I have seen some, most of the complaints are obviously has nothing to do with Michael in
Mm-hmm.
Haddonfield, but I have seen some like legitimate complaints about the movie. So but there's some people that just couldn't get into the story. But I think overall, I think this would probably definitely be standing as a horror classic from the '80s if it didn't have the Halloween 3 title, especially.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. Apparently, Jeff Burr passed away. I missed that. Um,
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
yeah, there were, Texas Chainsaw 3. I think he did one of the Stepfather movies. Pumpkinhead
Yep,
2. This is did a lot of
part two.
sequels. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, it's a shame. It's a
yep.
shame when anybody dies. Nate. Oh, yeah, Nate. I don't know if Nate's gonna be watching this or not, but yeah, he Jordan sent me a message the other night because Nate put one of his posts up on, I guess it was the Exorcist review that I did, and it was Nate was like bashing me, but you know how Nate is, playing the troll
Yeah,
in a way, and he's like, this guy
yeah.
just is so nasty. I'm like, oh no, no, that's Nate. He's part of the show. He's he's just messing around, I think. Um, but good looking out. I appreciate that for sure. Yeah. It took me a while. I'm not gonna lie. This one took me a while to warm up to Halloween 3, and and looking at it in that respect of saying, take Halloween 3 off the title and just think of it as the movie Season of the Witch. Even Tommy Lee Wallace says it should have been just called Season of the Witch. And I've seen him say that numerous times too. Um, it's a good movie. You got Tom Atkins. You've got heavy heavy tributes to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which Tommy Lee Wallace says is like his favorite movie. And that's one of the things I love. In the town that Silver Shamrock is based in is Santa Mira, which is where the original movie took place. So this one's just steep in horror history, and it's just a good movie overall. Has a great score. I love it. Finally bought a shirt, but it was colored. Do you have a black and white shirt for sale? Probably. There are different there's so many different color options out there. You can get a white skull with a white shirt, or I'd have to look. There's tons of different shirts out there for the Horror Syndicate. But I appreciate that you purchased one of the shirts. They're on sale right now. I need to get me a couple more. It's Reynolds took my son took all my shirts. So, but anyway, so what we're gonna do today. We're gonna talk about Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the things that work for us, the things that may not work for us. We've got our slash scores ready. Seth and I are 2 points apart, so our middle ground is a good score though. Um, I'll I'll start with you on this, and I'll tell you my history. As I already did a little bit the other day, but since we're doing the Halloween 3 episode, I'm gonna do it again. Um, but like, do you remember looking back at? Were you aware this wasn't a film with Michael Myers and a part of the actual like mainline series?
Yeah, I did because growing up, my mom had the VHSs for the majority of them, all
Mhm.
except for part three. And, I was told that had nothing to do with Michael. And I heard from a few other people too that it sucked, that it had nothing to do with Michael and it was just a pointless movie. And then um, when I was really starting to get into the series myself, I watched all the ones that were available. I think it was up to H2O at the point.
Mm.
I watched all those, and then I went and I found Halloween 3 because I was curious about it. And what I did was like I accepted it for what it was. So like when I went to watch it for the first time, I in my mind I was like, okay, this has nothing to do with Michael Myers. It's not going to be
Mhm.
connected to Haddonfield. It's going to be its own
Right.
separate story. So I kind of went into it just kind of looking at it as its own movie. And to be honest with you, I mean, I've always enjoyed this since I first watched it. Um, I think it's a really fun movie, and I absolutely love the ending. But we'll get into more stuff later. But yeah, that was kind of my history with it. I was aware of what it wasn't, and so I went in open minded on my first view with no expectations really, and I've loved it ever
Yeah,
since.
and see, in my situation was different because, and I told the story last week, I do believe, and I'm gonna tell it again. But basically, my mom she went bowling every freaking Thursday night or every Friday night, and in October, I think it was 1990. They were showing the first four Halloween films, and I was like, "Well, Halloween 3 is showing tonight, and I've never seen that one." And my mom knew, but she didn't tell me, that Michael wasn't in it. And so I sat there and waited and waited and waited and waited, and I saw the commercial. I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm 10 years old at the time. I'm like, "What? This is weird." And of course, by the end of the movie, you get Tom Atkins screaming to shut down the three
Yeah.
channels. I mean, I think we had 80 channels at that point, but this is like 1990, and so I was like, this is stupid. Like that was my first reaction. I was like, this is fucking dumb. It was like me watching Renfield all over again. Um, so I kind of dismissed it, and when I started buying the VHSs, I didn't buy Halloween 3 originally. So I had a gap. I always had Halloween 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, And one night I was at Walmart late night, probably about 19 years old, right before I started getting into DVD, which was about 2001 actually. So I saw it sitting there for $5. I was like, okay, like let me give this another shot, which would have only been my second viewing probably, and I watched it again. I'm like, why did they do this? And that's like my whole, I didn't know, we didn't have the internet as much back then, and I'm like, why in the fuck did they do this? And I was just so confused of like, it's such a weird turn. I didn't, in my brain, I didn't have the idea of a possible anthology. So I just thought they were like fucking with us or something. And then when Halloween 4 came out, which was of course 6 years later, I was like, oh, so people must have been butthurt, well, I don't think the term butthurt was around yet, but people were probably upset. That's why they brought Michael Myers back, and which is true. But yeah, it took me a long time, and it took me to creating the Horror Syndicate almost to really appreciate this movie. I'd watch it once in a while and kind of like just dismiss it. I just didn't quite. I understood the movie. I understood what was going on in the movie, and I remember having a good conversation with my brother-in-law, and he was never had watched any of the Halloween films, and he watched the was going through them. He's like, yeah, the first movie's good, the second movie's good, but the third movie is so good. I'm like, really? You like the third movie? He's like, yeah, man, and we kind of talked about it for like an hour. And I'm like, I need to watch this again and see what the hell he's talking about. And I'm watching it, and I'm listening to the score. I'm like, oh my god, I think this movie is good. Like I understand now, and it was like a great awakening. And
Yeah.
I showed it to Elizabeth a couple days later. We were actually carving pumpkins. It was around Halloween. I'd say 2016 because she was still with us at the time, and we watched it, and that's when we do it every year now on right before Halloween when we're carving pumpkins. We watch Halloween 3, and she loved it. She's like, this one's good. I'm like, you don't like the other? She's like, no. Like she wasn't a big slasher fan, so she's like, no, this one actually
Yeah.
has got a good story. Connell Cochran is creepy. He's a good villain, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. He is really a really good villain, and she's like, boy, I tell you, I love those three masks too, man. I would really love to have those. And this was before Trick or Treat Studios released them, so it's like, listening to other people's opinions sometimes it helps, because I just wasn't seeing what was there. And then, talking to you guys and Nate and Jared. Jared loves this movie too. I think Keith loves this movie. Brian, Mike Lombardo, everybody that has worked for the Horror Syndicate, because we like every movie, right? All of our reviews are positive.
apparently, we,
Yeah,
apparently we give everything a pass.
yeah, we give everything a pass. We have no credibility.
Yeah.
But no, like
Yeah.
everybody does, and I think it's rightful to like this movie though. This is a really good movie. My daughter is 10 years old. She likes this movie a lot. And there are things about it that don't make sense. There are a lot of question marks
Yeah.
about this movie, but there are with every movie. Um, I just think this one if it was called Season of the Witch, oh, that's a lot of comment. It would have gone differently. I think so many people will dislike Halloween 3 because Michael Myers wasn't as that's 100%. You're right on that. And 4, 5, and 6 came back with Michael, but retrospectively, Season of the Witch is a great standalone horror film. Yes, take the Halloween out of the title, guaranteed. If I just said that, yeah, absolutely, I'm right there with you, Matt. Um, yeah, it's and we talked about it previously, like how great would this be as a miniseries? Because they talked about a Halloween TV series. They should go the anthology route. Halloween presents and presents Season of the Witch. That would be awesome. But
That's the only way
before
I would
we,
want a Halloween TV.
I agree with you 100%. It makes no sense to have Michael Myers on Halloween night as a TV series. That's dumb to me. But real quick before we get
Keep
any
Michael
more
Myers from
further,
the movies.
keep going. Go ahead.
I'm sorry for this delay. Um, so
That's
keep
good.
Michael Myers for the movies, do anthology for a TV show. That's the way to
Absolutely.
do it.
So I'm not gonna sit here and try to get people to buy T-shirts or anything like that, but we do have Horror Syndicate T-shirts. If you like the Horror Syndicate, you can get a shirt. They're on sale right now. I'm not gonna lie, we make like fucking $2 a shirt, so it's not like it's a ton of money. But you can see the designs we have available right now, and they come in different colors. There's the Discourse logo designed by Nathan. The regular skull logo is designed by Jay Sloan. He's my partner, comic book partner. So is the pumpkin one. We've got a Christmas one. We do have an LGBT shirt, because we do support the community. And then this one was designed by Chris Hall. It was the original Discourse crew, which I don't even have that shirt. I need to get one of those. But yeah, I'll drop the link in if anybody's interested. I don't if you don't do it, cool. But it's always cool to see people rock a Horror Syndicate T-shirt. And every October 10th is the Horror Syndicate Day. It's my late wife's birthday, and she is the reason the Horror Syndicate exists. So the link is in the comments. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's get back to Halloween 3. Maybe I should do that. Like every video I watch anymore, these guys are like, "Oh, we got a great things of shirts," blah 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 blah. In every like video I see anymore.
No, why
But
not? You got merch.
do what?
So do it. I mean, you got merch. Might as well promote it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want people to think that we're in this to make money because we're not. The horrorsyndicate.com, the website,
Right.
is completely funded from my pocket. Like this StreamYard's like $30 a month. I pay for it out of my pocket. We do the thing I pride myself on, and I think you probably do, is we are not a website that is full of fucking ads. You go to any, I mean, bloody disgusting, and it's just ads everywhere, and it's annoying. And I don't ever
Yeah.
want to be there. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to make money doing the Horror
Well,
Syndicate, but fuck, man, I really appreciate websites that are clean, that have no. Um, you're welcome, absolutely. Look, my brother's gay, and we have a couple of our staffers that are gay as well. I mean, why wouldn't you support other human beings? you know. Um, but anyway, let's get back to Halloween 3. If you are you ready to get back to Halloween 3?
yes.
The jingle is amazing. I love it. I can't. It's one of those things I love. I gotta hear in October. Uh, if you get left alone, I guess that's peace of mind when it. Yeah, Seth Seth loves his werewolf movies, except for the last one he watched, which wasn't barely a werewolf movie. They should make Halloween movies. His name's Michael. So I mean, I don't know. I think with the TV series, I think that would be good. Get the OG black one with the blue skull. That's a classic one. I got to add the new logo on there at some point. I don't really get on there very often. Seeing Halloween 1, 2, and 3. Oh, you lucky SOB.
Oh,
That's one hell of an awesome night, isn't it?
that's awesome.
Dude.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. I would love. I've seen a couple years ago. I saw 1, 4, and 5. They did those three at the drive-in. It was great seeing 4 and 5 on the big screen. I've seen number 1 on the big screen before, but seeing 4 and 5
Yeah.
on the big screen was really
Yeah.
cool. I would love to see 2 and 3 on the big screen as well.
Yes. What's up? Oh fuck. Okay. Um. Okay. Good. We have one left. Okay. Cool. I'll get some tomorrow. Okay. We're out of trash bags. That's what that was. Um. Yeah. So like my local theater this year, they have Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. Excuse me. John Carpenter's Halloween. Uh, Scream.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And one other movie, but it's all first ones. And it's like, man, come on. I would love to see Halloween 5 on the big screen. I think I have never seen Halloween 2 or 3 on the big screen. I feel like I've seen 4 at some point. I've never seen 5, and I've seen the rest of them on the big screen, except for Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So I'd love to see, I'd love to have like one, two, and four. That'd be so cool, or just three by itself, or Candyman
Oh,
because I
totally.
missed out on that one. But anyway, so let's get this negativity out of the way, if there is any. Really, Halloween. That's awesome. I love seeing that. Favorite movie? Oh, that's fantastic. I watched it last night, and I got to tell you, ear to ear grin the whole time I'm watching it. I seriously like I can't believe how different my opinion is on this movie from 15, 20 years ago. It's crazy. Oh, good question. I like this one. 'Cause I asked this: which is your favorite mask? Um, I like all three of them. So they all have something different that I like, and the regular, like, I would normally say I like the skeleton one, but the witch one has that, like, that velvet look to it, the hood, which I really like. But I will say the jack o' lantern mask with a witch hat, that's tops for me. That would be the tops for me. What about you, Seth?
Pumpkin, definitely.
Yeah, I love that one. It's got a good shade of orange, and plus, for me, that's the iconic one. Little buddy. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I need to get all three of them. And I think Nate said that they're Trick or Treat's losing the license, so and then maybe that's just for Halloween too. I can't remember, but I need to find a way to get all three of them. I saw Curse and most of Halloween. Yeah, I've seen everything but Rob Zombie's Part Two. All right, let's. Marion got the witch one and kills. Yeah, yeah, I like the witch one though. I like so all three of them are great, in my opinion. But Chalice wore the skeleton one, which why not? It's like the coolest looking one, and he's the coolest guy of all time. So let's talk about any negatives about this movie. I have one that I can think of, and I want to see maybe if you have a way to explain it, maybe. But I want to see what you got first. So you got any kind of negatives about the movie?
Not that I can really think of. I mean, I absolutely love this movie. I'd say the Tom Atkins character is he's not the greatest human being. Um,
Why?
neglecting his children,
Oh,
to go bang someone half his age.
Dr.
Other than that, I
Chow.
mean, I don't know. I don't have any complaints about the movie. I mean, the concept is a little wild itself. The whole idea of taking power from Stonehenge, and maybe
It's
the
witchcraft.
effects. Yeah, and the effects at the end. The whole thing that happens with Colonel Cochran at the very
Mhm.
end looked a little
Yeah,
funky. But other than that,
that was
I just
strange.
absolutely love this movie. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I like this comment, by the way. I thought you'd like this one.
that's what I've been saying for years. It's the
Yeah.
best John Carpenter movie not directed by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
This is, I think, my favorite Tommy Lee Wallace film for sure.
Yeah. You sent me that picture, man. And they're not like great, but they look cool anyway. So yeah, I mean, I saw the picture earlier. I'll have to send it to Seth also. He found a kind of knockoff Halloween 3 masks at this place for like 450 in Canada dollars, I guess, Canadian dollars. They look pretty good though. Um, by
So,
the hold on,
would you say that they're like
you don't like
the
Colonel
Halloween
Cochran?
4 version of the Halloween 3 mask?
Yes, no, they look better than that. They look better than that for sure. So my really only negative, I'm not like too negative on the effects. The Colonel Cochran, it's weird. That's totally weird. And I mean, there's parts with like when Tom Atkins, Dr. Chalice, fights the Dick Warlock android, and he just kind of pulls out a cord. It's like there's no body in there, so it's like, is it just a cord? Like, what's holding it together? There's got to be some kind of like exoskeleton, right? Um, but like the one thing I would say that bugs me is the bug scene. Like, I don't understand that. Like, why are all these bugs coming out of him? How did the mom and dad die? It's confusing, and it makes, like, I understand, like, the when the lady who got her face beamed off by the pen, that made sense to me. But like, why didn't something like that happen versus the bugs coming out of it? I mean, it's a gross scene, and I actually really love the scene. Don't get me wrong. It's just I don't get it. I don't get why that would happen, and then I don't get why the parents died. What do you got?
I honestly I can't remember. I know that I listened to an audio version of the novelization, and I believe that
Mhm.
there was an explanation in there, perhaps of like I can't remember what it was, but that is a strange thing, like the whole bug thing. But I think it's just it doesn't bother me because I think it's just a really cool visual, like the whole thing
It
with
is
little Buddy,
totally,
like
yeah,
what happens to him. That whole scene is just awesome to me.
and
So
it
it
is, and
doesn't
I
really
agree.
bother me. Yeah.
No, well, it doesn't bother me per se. It's just like I was watching it last night, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, we usually go through pros and cons, and I kind of
Mhm.
like I don't have any real cons. I mean, like you said, Tom Atkins is kind of a bad father, but like at the same time,
Yeah.
he's got an unbearable ex-wife, and that I'm just saying
You
that
gotta
could be
neglect
part
my
of it.
children too.
Well, that could be
Yeah.
part of it, to avoid the ex-wife. I mean, he did try to bring them Halloween
Well,
masks, but the bitch got masks before he got them. So it's like, what else can he do? And by
well,
the way, Ellie's pretty hot.
yeah.
Why
I
not?
mean, yeah. I mean, but he was like the funny thing with his character is like he's always drinking, he's always
Yeah,
lying. So many people call him out on being a liar. He's always like hitting on everybody. Like it's like
like even the
right
nurse.
after you know, yeah. It was like right after he banged that one chick and he called his friend who was looking at the parts there
Yeah,
and he was asking her stuff and like she's talking about going to dinner and he's like, I'll always be open to go to dinner for you with you. I mean,
but
but
she
yeah,
initiated it. Come on, he's just a smooth operator.
he is.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's like there's not much
That
I
character would
can.
not survive 2023.
No, he would not, because like early on, the nurse that he's talking with, and he talks about sleeping with her, and he pats her on the ass, but she
Yeah,
pats him on the ass right back. So, equality. Um.
yeah,
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. That's another thing. The whole thing about getting Stonehenge over there is, and they did it overnight. That's a weird thing. It must have been some mystical thing. I don't know. Oh, Nathan's here. Maybe sort of a plague kind of thing. Okay, but no, it makes little sense as what happens to Cochrane and the androids. I love it though. It's so weird. One of my favorite scenes though in the movie is just that scene, and they use the Halloween score because they have him watching it. But when Connell Cochran's all "Happy Halloween," and then they play that dun dun, when Laurie's walking in the first movie, I love that so much because it
yeah.
works perfectly. And one of the best parts about the Scream Factory Blu-ray, which Nate did the art for, by the way, Nathan Thomas Milner killed it on the art for the Scream Factory. But the that's like the last thing in the menu you see is that, and you get dun dun dun. It's like perfect. It just sets you up for the movie,
Yeah.
get you ready, because there's still the John Carpenter DNA in this movie with his scores, and
Oh,
it's I know I just love it. I just fucking love Connell Cochran too. He is like, if you watch him closely, he is very aware of what's going on with Dr. Chalice, or Mr. Chalice as he calls him, then
oh
Dr. Chalice. I love it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just love it. People say the pool scene plan is silly and it follows. It was meant to be. But Atkins climbing up the rafter. It's brilliant, Nate. Come on. How's it going, man? The moment where Chalice eats the cookie, then goes to sleep, initially makes him the most relatable protagonist ever. Yeah. Further evidence Nancy was kind of a bad actress. Yeah, so let's gush a little bit. You ready to talk about how why we love this movie, your favorite things, my favorite things, and we'll get into the score. Not the score. The score is fucking
Mhm.
amazing. The music in this movie is just on point. So let's start there. What do
Yeah.
you think of the score?
Oh, I absolutely love the score. Carpenter and uh, Howarth, is that his last name? I always mispronounce his last name,
Yeah, I
but
believe that's how you say
they
it.
did a
Yeah,
fantastic job with the score. Yeah. Um,
yeah,
there's the one track, "Chariots of Pumpkins," is incredible. Um, just everything about the score is just. I think the score is the biggest part that makes it feel the most Carpenter. This whole movie, and I think it.
from the
Um,
get go too
I
with
think
the
it fits
opening.
very well.
Yeah,
Yeah, it fits very well with the movie, with the story, and yeah, it's just great. I love the score for this. I actually listened to it quite a bit.
yeah. I know you've told me that before. It's a good score, man. It's like Halloween and Halloween 2 have that just iconic score at the beginning of the movie. And then this one really, it's like Halloween 4. Halloween 4 sets a tone of dread. And this one kind of does the same thing with the pumpkin and everything. I love this opening. I'm really happy that Halloween Ends kind of paid tribute to it. But yeah, in the score, just this is John Carpenter at his best, and Howard, who didn't he do Halloween 2 also?
Yep,
Howard,
and
yeah, I thought so.
four and
Yeah.
four,
So
five, and
having
six.
those two work together, kind of like that's like a
Yeah.
match made in heaven, in my opinion. So the score is phenomenal. It's one of the best in the
Hmm.
series, if not for maybe the second best. It's hard to say that because the score for Halloween Kills is really good, and Halloween 2018. They've got really good scores. So you should do a whole article on scores for these movies.
I should. Yeah.
Connell Cochran is one of the most evil characters ever, killing me. Yeah, absolutely,
Well,
absolutely.
that's another thing I love about this movie though is Colin Cochran and his whole plan, and like the way it just like it's so thematically tied to Halloween and old
Mhm.
rituals and
Yeah,
pagans,
Samhain.
and it's Samhain. It's very, and he pronounces it right. I'm like Dr. Loomis. Um, it's a Halloween movie in every way possible.
Yeah,
It's very much tied to the day itself and all that. That's what I love about it too.
yeah. I want to go back to this. Nate mentioned how it's very inspired by 1950s horror, and we talked about Tommy Lee Wallace being a big fan of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and the Silver Shamrocks is in Santa Mira, which is the same town from the 1956 Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which I cannot stress enough. If you've never seen that, watch it. It's ahead of its time. My 10-year-old daughter watched it for the first time 2 weeks ago and loved it. It's so good. Um, that's all I'm going to say about that. Have you ever seen it? You've seen it, haven't you?
What's up?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers of the 56 version.
Yeah, I've seen it quite a few times. I'm a big Body Snatchers fan. Like I love Jack Finney's book. I
Mm.
love the original film. I love the '78 film. I love the '90s film, and I've grown to kind of like the Nicole Kidman film.
I haven't
I'm a
seen that
big fan
one.
of Body
I've
Snatchers.
heard
Yeah.
that one's kind of slow. By the way, I read this singing it in my head. Just saying. In terms of scores, my favorite is 2018, followed by Kills 3, then 2. Interesting. There's something about one that's just so iconic. Like I talked about that little walk that Lori does from uh, the Wallace house, or no, Doyle house to the Wallace house. That I love that part of the score, and they play it in this movie. It's brilliant. But you're not wrong. 2018 Kills have great scores as well. Uh,
And ends had a great score too.
yeah, I need so I ends I've only watched a couple of times, and I'm still not sure what I feel about it. So I kind of the score doesn't resonate with me yet, if that makes any sense. Um, Invasion of the Body
Just
Snatchers.
go to YouTube and listen to the full album. You don't even have to
I
watch the
might do
movie.
that. I got to finish my. I'm doing a ranking of the Friday the 13th movies, and I told you about this. I'm putting it against my Friday the 13th rankings article from 2016, and seeing how different it is. And I got to finish that before Friday because Friday is Friday the 13th. Uh, by the way, Never Hike Alone 2 will be out on Friday the 13th, so check that out on YouTube. Let's finish these comments here. But yeah, so what are some of the other things that you really just deep down love? I mean, we love Dr. Chalice, even though you think he's a deadbeat dad. I mean, who goes in a bar in the middle of the day on a Wednesday or whatever it was, and you know, yeah.
I mean, I'd probably do that, but still, that's beside the point.
Well,
Um,
you are the Seth, so
uh, yeah. Well, I mean, I love the way that it starts off, right? I like there's sort of like a mystery behind it, and I kind of like the way that the story unfolds. You know, we start off with uh, Harry Grimbridge running for his life
mhm.
and dodging all these people, and we don't know what's going on. And he gets brought to the hospital. He's saying, they're going to kill us all. He's holding on to the mask. And then I love this scene actually where he gets killed in the hospital. I thought that was really cool and kind of brutal, like the whole thing with you know, and then the android, blowing itself up, really cool. Um, and I just like the progression of the story. Chalice and Ellie traveling to Santa Mira, and things being very weird, and of course at the same time you got that great score happening,
Mhm.
and it's some of the effects are amazing too, like when what's her face when she messes with the one button and gets lasered in the face, like that whole effect, that
That
that close up
prosthetic
on her
is good.
face, and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
oh, it's awesome, yeah. And yeah, there's just so much good stuff in this movie. There's so many good scenes. I also really love the drunk homeless guy too.
I do
Um,
too.
that
I was
bottle
going
looked
to
a little
mention
heavy.
him. Yeah. I think they hire a hometown kid, but like yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I like, and plus the other guy that I really like is the hotel
Fuck you,
manager too.
Cochran. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
his. Yeah, yeah, I could see that for sure. Absolutely, anxiety with the viewer. Yeah, the android. So this is an android who can self terminate, unlike that pussy T-800 in the Terminator movie. No, just joking. Uh, but yeah, no, there's not much. I'm trying to think like, how would you sell this to somebody who hates Halloween 3 as making it a good movie? Like, because it is a good movie, we know that, and there are reasons. From the score, the story itself, a great fucking villain. But there are still people out there who just hate this movie, and
Mhm.
is it because of Michael Myers? Because that's a dumb reason, in my opinion. I think that's a dumb reason. You know,
Well, I think so, but I think it's because a lot of people don't understand the perspective of when this was made, right? I mean, you got to think about slashers. They existed, but they weren't enormously popular really until Halloween, and then of course Friday 13th started happening, and they started getting more and more popular. But still, at this time, slasher sequels, slasher franchises weren't really a thing. It was like really in its infancy at this point, And then Carpenter's not a sequel guy. He's not really a slasher film guy either.
yeah,
And Paramount's having success. They're doing, at the point of this one, they were on what, Friday 13th Part 3, um,
yeah,
being released the same year, right?
yep, 82.
So, and you had Jason coming out, like, and even then, I mean, even with Friday 13th, it wasn't like can't be killed type of person, right? Because at the end of Friday 13th Part 2, he basically got macheted in the shoulder, and then there was a whole window thing. It kind of
Mm,
left it open for the next one. But so the unstoppable killer thing wasn't really a big thing. But then also you have to consider this too. John Carpenter did something at the end of Halloween 2 that he's very rarely ever done, and that is a definitive ending. In John Carpenter's eyes, he killed Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis. So for him, the characters were dead, and so the intention too was to continue on the Halloween brand, but as far as an anthology, meanwhile Paramount is continuing uh, to kind of milk the whole Jason thing with Friday the 13th, and slashers started becoming more and more popular as they went on.
yeah.
But I mean, at the time though, that at the time that Carpenter killed Myers, Loomis, to doing this particular one, the whole slasher, unstoppable killer thing was just, it was beginning to blossom. So I mean, if you look at it in that perspective, I mean, because you look at Halloween 3 from today's standards, yeah, it's a little weird that they did that one little experimental movie in between. You would think that slashers and slasher sequels were always a big thing, and that they should have continued with Michael, but it really wasn't the case. I mean, that's the way I look at it. It's
No,
if
you're
you look
right.
at it from the
You're 100
perspective of when it was made, where
100%. Yeah, you're
yeah,
100% right. And
yeah,
and
where the slasher genre was at, yeah,
well, and to your point, you look back at 1981 when Halloween 2 came out, with Halloween Friday the 13th Part 2 came out that same year, and Paramount was ready to go full steam ahead with another Friday the 13th movie with Jason as the killer, where Halloween 3 was going to be different. So you're looking at 1981 also, was the slasher boom year. There was, like, The Burning, My Bloody Valentine, The Prowler, all those movies came out in 1981. And so with Halloween, if they would have known 81 would have been, of course, Friday the 13th Part 2 and Halloween 2, if they would have probably known, they may have had John Carpenter write a different ending. But like at the end of Halloween 2, it is a definitive ending, and none of us took it as that. Most of us didn't grow up watching. We weren't young enough or old enough to see Halloween 2 3 when it came out. So those movies were already, for the most part, there by the time we were watching them also, so we just accepted it. Like, watching Halloween 2 now as an adult, especially when the David Gordon Green movies come out, if you really look closely at Michael burning, he's starting to ash. He's starting to, like, he's looking a little bit crispy, like chicken fried. But he's like legitimately starting to ash, and like that, he's
yeah.
done. And there's no, how the fuck would Loomis survive that? Just because he didn't come walking out, you didn't see his body, doesn't mean he didn't obliterate. Like, So and I get why, and that's exactly why David Gordon Green made the movies he made, rather than going the sister route and totally ignored Halloween 2. I mean, Michael was dead. That's it, plain and simple. And once again, I still feel like when we get to talking about Halloween's future, I do think that they should just dismiss Laurie Strode altogether. She was just the girl he was chasing in the first movie, and do something
Yep.
completely different. But and that's
Yep.
what they tried here with Halloween 3, is to do something different, and they got so much backlash. And even Tommy Wallace said it should have been just called Season of the Witch, and I'm glad that it's called Halloween 3, but you know, we missed out on some comments
I
here.
do kind of
Go ahead, go, just go.
I do kind of wish I do kind of wish though that there was a way to kind of connect this to the same world as John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yeah, but they messed that
Instead
up by
of being like
making.
on instead of
Yeah,
instead of Halloween being a movie within
mhm.
Halloween 3, maybe they would have stuff on the TV about you know
The Haddonfield killings.
uh, 2 year retrospective of
Right.
what, or not two, but 3 years ago, Michael Myers, blah blah blah. Like, they, it's sort of like it. I wish it was like sort of like tied to that world instead of just like its own separate world. I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me, but you know,
I mean, that would be cool if like they were like did like you said mention it's been 2 years since the Halloween tragedy in Haddonfield on the rather than John Carpenter's immortal
yeah,
classic. I mean, they name drop John Carpenter in Halloween 3, you know. Uh,
yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
that's what we have. Nate says, let's face it, Halloween 3 is cheesy. It is, but it's in all its goodness. It's cheesy. We love it, and I know Nate loves it too. They were in the middle of an explosion. Yeah, honestly, Michael Myers probably shouldn't even walked out of that explosion. Yeah, chicken fried. People lose hands and firework explode. Yeah, and Loomis blew that shit up right in his face. They probably lost their heads if you really think about it. Like Halloween fans when Halloween Ends came out, they lost their heads. Uh, yes.
Oh, with this comment here from Travis, I had that idea too. I was kind of coming up with a story like 2 years ago or something like that, where I was going to
Okay.
try to connect Season of the Witch with everything with John Carpenter's Halloween being based off a real story, so
Mm,
that there would be an actual real Michael Myers, and
yeah.
then I would do like a sequel to Season of the Witch, where you know someone who's a part of that whole cult, that whole pagan cult, makes a special mask for the real Michael, and so we have like a different type of Michael Myers
Dude, that'd be a
within
badass
the
fan
Season
film.
of the Witch world. Yeah,
Dude,
I
that'd be
was like
badass.
writing that shit down like 2 years ago. That comment reminded me of that.
I like that. That's I like that. That's good. That'd be so cool. There's a backlash even when a Halloween has my I know Halloween fans are hard to please. That's part of the reason why I'm glad there hasn't been a new Nightmare on Elm Street or a new Friday the 13th in a while. We don't have to hear people bitch about oh, this is nothing. No, nobody knows anything about Friday the 13th. Nobody knows more than I do. You know, like Nate was talking about before the show. The whole they don't know what they're doing with Halloween. It's like shut up. Halloween 78. Can we please respect John Carpenter? It's John Carpenter's Halloween. Can be a nice short episode. Uh,
Thank you.
uh, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to see any Michael Myers in a show personally. The script for Halloween 4 opens with the explosion, Loomis yelling, "Let it burn!" while firefighters put out Michael, which I can't help was read by the writers of Kills. Um, Speaking of, tomorrow I'm posting something. I almost forgot. Set did a write up of the movie that was supposed to be Halloween Retribution. He did the script breakdown, and it's going to be up on the. It's already on the website, but I'm posting on the Facebook tomorrow if anybody wants to check that out. Um, okay, what else do we want to say about this movie? Let's talk about the end,
Yes.
because the end is so dated now. There's 3 stations in 1982, I guess. I don't remember a time like that at all. So this is news to me. But I love the 3 kids wearing the mask coming into the gas station. The gas attendant's got this giant smile on his face, and Tom Atkins has got bloody, sweaty, and he's yelling at the phone. It's such a great scene and great ending, and it does play homage to Invasion of the Body Snatchers again. But I just love the ending of this movie. I don't think there could have been any better ending than the way it ended because it's kind of like it's a Carpenter ending in a way. You just think about The Thing, which I got to watch last night as
Open
well.
ended.
Open ended, yeah. So you did he get that final station turned off? We don't know. Is McCready the Thing or is Childs the Thing? We don't know. So yeah, John Carpenter's DNA is all over this fucking movie. I know it's not his movie, but it's all over this movie, and I love the ending
Yep.
because you don't know. There is a fan film out there. I posted it's on the Horror Syndicate's website that it actually has Tom Atkins in it too. But I guess he got all of them shut down. But I like the idea of like, did he do it? Because we don't know. What do you think of the ending?
Oh man, the ending is awesome. It's like one of my favorites. Like, because I kind of like I'm a huge Carpenter fan. Obviously, I love the fact that most of his films kind of there's always something lingering that the audience can question and kind of mull over and kind of theorize on. And I felt like this really captured a John Carpenter ending, and I love it. I love
Mhm.
the intensity of it. Tom's performance in that scene I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
The way he's screaming into the phone, the desperation in his voice,
Mhm.
and the way it just ends with him and not knowing if it actually happened. Because like the cool thing too is like so we saw earlier in the movie the whole scene with little Buddy, which is a great scene, and so we see what happens when the TV spot gets to its full peak
Mhm.
and how it activates the mask. And so like they don't show you, like if it actually happened or not. So I don't know. It's just really cool. I love the ending. I thought the ending was great.
I do too, man. It's the perfect ending to a really really damn good movie. Um, and Tom Atkins, the expressiveness on his face alone tells a lot,
Yeah.
you know. Uh, so I Jordan asked this question earlier. So I'm going to pose this question to anybody who's watching now because only Seth and I answered. But which Halloween 3 mask is your favorite? The jack o' lantern mask, or the pumpkin, the skeleton, or the witch? Let us know in the comments. I definitely want to know. Nate, what's your favorite? I think I know what Nate's going to say. I think he's going to say jack o' lantern or the pumpkin, like us. I just feel like that's what he's going to say. I don't know Nate almost at all, but um, I need to get Silver Shamrock. Yeah, I knew cable was around, but like most households, I don't think had cable. We got it. I know we got it in like '84 or so. The only reason I remember that is because my mom had cassette tapes where she would record music videos on the cassette tape from MTV, and they had the years on them. So we had to at least have it in 1984, and also in '85. That's how I saw Elm Street 2 for the first time, or '86, whatever that was. So, but Silver Shamrock would not be on those. Jack o' Lantern, hell yeah. I think that might be everybody's favorite for the most part. I know Jordan said the Witch, which is really cool. It's a good classic Witch. Anyway,
Hmm.
yeah, there's not much to really bitch about this movie. And one of the things I will say since 2016, when the Horror Syndicate started, we have seen a lot more support of this movie than early on because there was a lot of hate early on. Jared did a fine review for it. We posted it, and like back in the early days of the Horror Syndicate, when we only had like 3 or 4 thousand people following the Facebook, the people came out of the woodwork just to say how much they hated Halloween 3. And now it's completely reversed. Not completely. There are still people who hate it, but like if I put anything up Halloween 3, it's one of our like people are coming out to say, "Hey, I understand this movie. I like this movie. It's good." If and a lot of people are of the mind that we've said numerous times tonight. If it wasn't called Halloween 3, this could be one of the better movies of the 1980s. I think it is anyway. It's got to be in the top 25 of the 80s, if anything. Oh my God, she knows I'm on the show. What? Okay, I don't understand. Like they know kids. Oh, Freddy's dead.
Kids.
Kids. um, Yeah, but yeah, Halloween 3 is coming around, which I like. The which one? I think they're all three cool, very iconic for Halloween time. You know, you always see like a witch or a skeleton or jack o' lanterns in Halloween, so they did a good job with that stuff. And Trick or Treat Studios did a good job. Nate, did you say that they're discontinuing those from Trick or Treat Studios? Because if so, I gotta figure out a way to get all three of them before they're gone, before fucking Rubies gets a hold of them. The skeleton is the easy answer because it's the most detailed. Yeah, but go with the pumpkin. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, pumpkin with the classic witch hat. That's the way to go. I know a guy who has Halloween 3 as his favorite above that. I've seen that though. I've seen that people say that, and I don't fault them for that. I got bored and started writing an alternate Halloween 6 and have been making sure to watch Carpenter's films to get the feel down. That'd be the best way to do it.
Good man.
No,
Good man.
Tots owns Don Post Library, so okay, so these three are cool. It's just the Halloween 2 mask is the one that's going to go bye bye. I need to get that one. And then I need to have a fat head like Dick Warlock to stretch it out, right? Because it's already taken care of. I got a fat head, so we're cool. My mask probably looks like Dick Warlock's because of my fat ass head. It's back there. Can you see it?
Yep.
Back there somewhere.
Dude, you could go. You could be Myers or Loomis.
That's
your head.
Thanks. I would love one of these days. That's what I want to look like when I'm in my 50s. Is Donald Pleasance? Is that wrong? I'm gonna travel the country and go to each one of your guys' house and start. How many in the bus? Just say random lines from the movies he's in, and not the I shot him 6 times because just in case I don't want to get people like what's you talking about shooting somebody. No, how many in the bus? I've watched it for 15 years. I'll just go door to door to people's house and just start reciting Loomis lines. I got to practice my accent. I watched him for 15 years. Looking at the wall, looking past the wall, looking at this night or whatever he says. I'll get there. Yep. I love Donald Pleasance so much, and the trench coat's gone because it I found a dead mouse in it. And I was like, nope, throw it away. Yeah. I was not gonna mess with that. Dick Warlock walking around looking like Peter Cetera. He did. He did. That's hilarious. Oh man. The actual mask was a Don Post. Yeah, that's true. The Shatner mask. But anyway, I love Dr. Loomis, and I'd love to like cosplay as him one day because I think if I let my gray grow in, because I do dye my beard, I don't give a shit what anybody says. I look better that way. I'm 43, and I don't want to look 43. I want to look 42. But I'd love to cosplay as Loomis one day, and I think I'd be okay. I got the haircut already, so just got to let my ring grow out. Anyway, how old was he when he made Halloween? He 19. What was he born in 1919? So he was almost 60. No, yeah, he's almost. So he's like, okay, so I got some time. All right, Seth, you ready to get into? In my mind, Carpenter's anthology concept includes The Fog as a sequel to the original Halloween. Oh, interesting. I'll be Meeker. You could. You just have to shave your beard off.
I'll be Wade.
You'll be Wade. Can I be Kelly?
I'll be Wade. That'd be a little weird, dude.
It would be weird, but I just want to say fuck off Wade. Can I?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Fuck off, Wade. All right. Got that out of my system. Dude, I wish that like seriously, one of these days I want to get like have a convention where everybody that follows the Horror Syndicate that watches the show shows up and we all like meet each other. I think that would be so cool because I've never met this guy in person, Seth. I talk to this guy on a daily basis for the last 4 years or 5 years. I've never met him once in person. You son of a bitch. No. And then Jared's getting married on Friday.
Yeah.
His wedding's on Friday. It's like I wish I could go, but I can't because all this stuff's happened now. I'll probably get flagged now. Yeah. Nate's gonna get banned from Facebook. But yeah, I just wanna like I've met Nate, just not you.
Yep.
Nate's one tall too. Yeah, one of these days. Nate is like 6'2". He's fucking like I knew he was tall, but when I saw him the first time, I'm like, fuck, that dude's tall. He'd be a good shape. All right. You want to do some slash scores?
Yeah, we'll do slash scores.
Okay, as usual, and I always explain this for any new because we are having new viewers at this point, which is great. And usually they're after the fact, but some of you that are watching now are somewhat new. we have this rating system where there's 10 categories, like the score, the casting, the story, stuff like that, direction, production value, all that, our production design. Um, we rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, and it's a 10 point scale. There's 10 categories, so there's 100 possible points, and so you add them all up, and that's the score. It's that's percentage essentially. And Seth gives this movie, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, an 89%. And there he is, Connell Cochran, clapping
Nice.
at you. Yeah, I like this image because, he's like, Seth's giving it 89%. Thank you, clapping.
Yeah, very good. Um,
I should have put you
yeah,
up where he's looking, though.
yeah, right. um, so I did all my scores for the entire series like a month ago, so I don't remember my individual breakdowns, but I can imagine the write-in is I gave a fairly high score for. It does have a outrageous concept. It's got some very outrageous ideas in it that require a leap of faith,
Yeah.
but I dig it. Um, Direction, I'd imagine that I gave a very high score for that. This is, I think,
Mhm.
uh, Tommy Lee Wallace's best directed film of that I've seen from him.
Yeah, I would agree with
The
that.
score is a perfect 10. I think the casting is really solid. The editing is good. Uh, the kills and effects, I imagine I rated those high as well. And the entertainment factor, it's a perfect 10 for me. I love this fucking movie. I watched it a lot.
Hmm.
It's it's always hard to kind of put this film in a ranking because it's kind of difficult to stack this against the Myers films because I
Yeah.
love Michael Myers and I love those films. Um, but honestly, if I'm to not choose, if I was to not do a cop out, I'd honestly think that this is right behind 78. This is right behind Our Lord and Savior's Halloween, as
Yeah.
far as one of my favorites. So yeah,
It
89%. It's not a perfect film. It's got its
No.
flaws as far as some elements of the story, some of the situations,
Mhm.
some of the facts again, like with Cochran at the end. But
Mhm.
it's for me, it's fucking solid. I love it.
Yeah, it's very solid. Yeah, some of the effects are kind of rough, that's for sure. But Nate did say it's cheesy, and he's not wrong. But sometimes you need a little cheese with your horror, or you need a little cheese with your beer and Miss Grimshaw. I'll take her. We didn't even talk about that scene where he's like, "Where should I sleep?" or "Where do you want me to sleep?" "Where do you want to sleep, Doctor Shaw?" Whatever it is, that like I fucking love that scene so much. You know, like
That's a dumb
that's
question, Miss
that's a
Greenbridge.
dumb question, Mr. Grimshaw. I love it. Grimridge, whatever. Yeah, I fucking love that. It's so good, man. Tom Atkins is smooth. Like, dude, I love that scene. Like him with women in the early 80s movies, because like Night of the Creeps, he didn't really have anything going on. All those sorority girls, we already know they'd be all over him. But no, like in The Fog, where he looks so weird without his mustache, he picks up Jamie Lee Curtis and she's like, "Are you weird?" He's like, "Yes, yeah, as a matter of fact, I am." And then two
Yeah,
scenes later, they're in bed together. It's like, God
yep.
bless Tom Atkins. Like, oh, I need to meet him one of these days. I actually prefer this over 70. Okay, that's good. I think he was the one that said this is his favorite Halloween film, also, which is good. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. Opinions uh, matter here. Dr. Chalice's naked back looking like an upside down.
Well, I'm not eating Doritos again.
Right, or raw chicken, which I don't. But all right. So my overall score on this one was, I gave it a 91. High marks all around for this one. It's got one of the kind of coolest kills. It's really quick, but the makeup effect after the kill is so cool looking. It's gnarly looking. It's a look away from the screen kill, which I love. You know, like when you see her face. This scene, of course, is one of the most iconic scenes of the '80s, in my opinion, and it's so grotesque. You know,
Well,
my only pro-
I love it. I mean,
yeah.
just look at that. Just look at that image. Like the way that pumpkin mask suddenly looks all slimy and stuff. It's
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah, and I like how it starts to split. Also, you
Yeah.
know, it's just so cool. Um, you know, and there are problems with this movie, sure, but man, the entertainment value 10. No fucking way is this anything below a 10. I have like I said, ear to ear smile every time I watch this movie.
Yeah.
It's just so much fun, great characters, you know, and I love Santa Mira as a town. You know, I love the androids too. That's the other thing. Like, there's a shot of like five or six of them standing in a line, and it's just the way it's lit. And that's another thing. The way this movie's lit is the cinematography is beautiful in this film, which of course it is, right? But like, there's a shot of like six of them, and it's just so eerie looking, you know. And I think part of the reason like I really started to respect this movie also was because of my connection to Body Snatchers, which I've mentioned like a thousand times tonight. But that really helps when you watch Body Snatchers and this. Also, last night I watched The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, and then this, and it was like that's like a great white a night of watching horror movies is watching those two movies, two of the best from '82. So,
Hmm.
and my son Reynolds actually asked to watch the. Can we watch The Thing? I was like, if you say it correctly, yes. Can we watch John Carpenter's The Thing? Yes, we sure can.
Good man. That's a good test. I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Really.
right. I give it a low 60s or high 60s, low 70s. That was actually the forecast for today here. Uh, let's
Oh,
see.
really?
Yeah, yeah. 2018 is my favorite. Then Kill is 4-3. Oh God, that's interesting. Nothing against that. That's just Halloween 2018 is definitely one of the better sequels. I rate this one. I like this one. I rate this higher than the others. Yeah, it's a good one. It's my fourth favorite Halloween. Me too. So my personal rankings and same thing with Seth versus our slash scores are always going to be different. So when we do our ranking episode, you will see there is a difference because we'll have both rankings on the screen. Because while I love this movie so much, there's no denying my love for Halloween 4. And as much as Nate is trying to get me to not like Halloween 2, I love Halloween 2. So I'm just teasing Nate, you know. But you know, there's something about Halloween 2 that I just fucking love, and I can't wait to what's next week. But and so this one unfortunately falls into the fourth spot for me, but I do love it. The only place I think it could have improved was the atmosphere of the town. I don't know, man. I thought that was pretty good. Showing more. Well, that's the thing I liked about it. You barely see anybody in Santa Mira. You know, it's almost like a complete corporate town run by Connell Cochran and Silver Shamrock. That's I really like that because you really only get the interaction of with the bum, the drunk guy, but it also gives you that the town that dreaded sundown vibe in a way, which is really cool. Halloween 5 is on. Oh Lord, it's a good thing you're watching us then. Don Shanks, I'm sorry. Uh, H2 was a lot better. Yeah. Uh, oof. Every time I watch H2O, it gets worse. I got to be honest.
No, it's funny, Ray.
What's that?
Speaking of Don Shanks, like when
Mhm.
Nate sent us that message saying that he was liking comments and stuff
Yeah.
from our Halloween 5 thing, I was like, oh fuck. So I went on to like YouTube and I was like starting to watch. I'm like, what did I say? Because I'm harsh on Halloween 5.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh fuck, this
So
guy's
was
gonna hate
Nate.
us.
So was Nate. And I like,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm like thinking to myself, like, should I reach out to him and apologize, or will he choke me and take a lawn and implement into my face? You know, like he did it to Mike in Halloween 5. I mean, Don Shanks seems like a good guy overall. You know, he probably really
yeah,
just loves the fact that you know it's getting some love. Really, I mean, we did talk about it, and it's just not one of the best Halloween movies, unfortunately. I like H2 more than the original. Some interesting perspectives here tonight. I think the best part is the first 20 minutes or so with Loomis and Brackett. Yeah, I do like that stuff. I do like the television version too. It sure does feel. Yeah, yeah. Dawson's Creek. I tried rewatching Resurrection. Been about 3 years. Good God, it's worse than I recall. I watched Katie Sackhoff, who's in Resurrection, watch Resurrection and
Yeah,
react to it.
yeah,
Have you seen that? Yeah,
yeah. So that,
I thought that was pretty funny. I really don't care for Jamie or Rachel. Oh, okay. So anyway, our overall score together is a 90%. Uh, we add the two scores and divide them by two, and that's how we get it. So 89 plus 91 is 90%. There's the masks. Look in all their beautiful glory. Um, Now, the weird thing is not weird, but and it's kind of expected. The followers, we did the 5-star rating, give this a 71%. And I guess that's fair, but it ranks lower than the likes of Halloween 6. I mean, I love Halloween 6. Seth loves Halloween 6. But this is a better movie. It's a better made movie,
right,
you
but
know.
it's also the most divisive, and I think probably a lot of that was all the people that hate it because it doesn't have anything to do with Michael.
Do you think this is more divisive than Halloween Ends?
I still think it is. I still think it is. Because as much as it is getting love, there is still a lot of strong hate for Halloween 3.
Yeah.
Maybe not. One could make the argument that it's maybe they're both equally as divisive
Mm.
because that's, I mean, Halloween Ends. That's another one where you have the people who love it, and then you have the people who hate it. It's like there's like extremes on both sides for both of these movies. Really, I mean, it's not like the comments I read. There's not really a lot of middle ground. But personal opinion.
It really is for both of them. Really, it's love or hate. Like I feel like I'm in the middle on Halloween Ends because I still don't know how I feel about it. Like I look at that movie and I'm looking at like there's a good movie in here,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure how I feel about it. And I know it's well made. It is. It's well made. It looks great and it's well acted. It's just I just don't know how I feel about it. And it's gonna unfortunately because of that fall lower on my personal ranking. And I think this is the one score I remember. It's a 65% for me. Um, and I know Nate's got a like a deep passion for Halloween Ends, and there are a lot of people who do. He's not alone. It's just
yeah,
not for me, right now. And maybe it's like I said with The Exorcist Believer, it might be one that grows on me because I think Believer is better than what people are saying about it, and I think Halloween Ends is better than what people say about it for the most part. It's just maybe it's one that's gonna have to grow on me.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm with you on Believer. I mean, because Believer is, I think, better than what some people are saying, but it's still not good.
One thing I want to say about The Exorcist Believer versus I think the TV show was better.
See, I've never seen the show, but I've
You
heard it's
should.
good.
The
Yeah,
show's really good. Unfortunately, it got canceled prematurely, but the show's really good. Gina Davis is in it. It's good. I'd watch it for
I
sure.
know the twist in your character.
Yeah, yeah. It's a better show than or a better like sequel than Believer, in my opinion. And plus, it's long form, and I think The Exorcist could work long form like that.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I Believer. I didn't hate Believer, but I didn't love Believer at the same time. It's just one that I think like
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, it's like I think I will like this more over time, but at the same time, it is what it is. But I'm still a heretic fan. So like, and I saw Bloody Disgusting drop their list of the sequels, and they have uh part three is like number three. It's like, what are you doing? Like, what are
the
you
fact
doing
that
with your life, Bloody Disgusting? Come on.
yeah, I read that too, and I wanted to strangle myself.
3 is exceptionally good. It's good. It's great. I think it's great. You love it. It's your favorite.
It's my favorite
So
of that series.
yeah, you that's good. You having your own relationship with things is the way it goes. My opening of H6 is a tow truck taking Mike's car from 5 to the auto shop from Body Bags, the movie, and
Yeah,
paying them to get fixed, revealing that the Man in Black, it's the Man in Black before driving off to bring Michael Myers up. Maybe the Man in Black's John Carpenter.
dude. Speaking of body bags, man, that gas station segment is the best in that
Hmm.
movie. I love it.
Yeah.
And they mentioned
Um,
Haddonfield. They mentioned Haddonfield in it.
Plus, it's got your boy David Naughton.
That's right.
Body
Didn't
Bags
mean
is
to call you.
underrated.
Yeah.
Universal had their pants pulled down, paying 400 million for The Exorcist. Whoever owned the rights must have thought these people are idiots. Probably. Then again, I think they're set. I think what so back to Believer for a second. I do think they're setting stuff up for this next movie, and I do think it'll get another movie. It's already surpassed its budget, so I'm pretty sure they'll make one more at least. If they already
Well,
announced
it's,
anything.
it's well, I mean, it's not quite. I don't think it's quite earned back its budget yet. Plus, there's the marketing, but from the way things have been sounding over the last couple of days, it kind of seems like Universal may be going in a different direction than what David Gordon Green has planned,
That's gonna
which could be a good thing.
make a lot of people happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think Believer is worth a 23% on Rotten Tomatoes. Had to make a decision on Exorcist or Saw X. Hopefully, you saw Saw X. That was the better movie.
Please tell me you saw Saw X
Or Saw
or
10,
Saw
right?
10. Saw
Yeah.
10. Jesus Christ. I bitch about that and then I go ahead and commit that.
Well, it's you read it. It's you read it as Saw X, but it's Saw 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
My idea
Yeah.
in the back is what causes that one guy at the gas station. Interesting. Yeah, it is good. It's the probably the second best in the series, maybe third at worst. But yeah, Saw 10's good. Next week, my children, we are doing Halloween 2. We're getting closer and closer to John Carpenter's immortal classic, Halloween. We will do what we did here today, but Halloween 2 style. I made this one, but I didn't know how it would turn out. I think it looks okay. I have to make these. Did you know that? They're not pre-made for me. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Like this one I had to make too. I actually have to make these. Like it's not as easy as I thought it would be. But Halloween 2 is next Wednesday on the 18th, so you got to be here for that, right? The undisputed number one sequel, more than likely, Halloween 2. Rick Rosenthal's Halloween 2. How about that? Are you going to make this into a movie? Just curious, because that'd be cool. I'd support a fan film like that. But yeah, Seth, are you looking forward to talking about Halloween 2?
Oh, absolutely. It's my favorite Michael Myers sequel.
Yeah.
Um, I
I
have
like how you
such a
said
huge
that, by the way.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
looking
have a
forward
lot
to it.
of love for Halloween.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too, buddy. Me too. It should be a fun time. There are problems with it, but there's a lot of good too. Hopefully Nate will hang out so we can hear what he has to say about it. Since he's trying to convince me it's not as good as Halloween 4, and he may be right. He's given us the okay. Waiting for the Saw sequel that opens with Kramer and Newman waking up in a game for calling Kramer a piece of shit, a piece of crap, who emits a foul-smelling odor. Halloween 2 is a bad movie for me, but I get a kick out of it. I don't get the love for Halloween 2. I thought it was very overrated. Well, we'll see your 25 comments before we even start the show.
Stay tuned
Um,
next week.
Yeah, and then the 25th we are doing John Carpenter's Halloween, and the following week on Halloween. Notice this doesn't say John Carpenter's. I didn't do
Yeah,
that.
but yeah,
I did not do that. It was just like
yeah.
that. But and then of course we will be doing the Halloween rankings on October 31st. It'll probably be a later show for anybody who is planning on watching. It's a Tuesday. Um, I got to take my kids out trick or treating, and Seth's got to trick or treat himself, if you know what I mean. And then, no, I don't know. I don't know. Trick or treat, motherfucker. I got to get some chicken fried. Linda Blair is a nasty cun human being. I am super nice when I meet anyone. She seems to only care about one thing, and that's dogs. That's all I have to say about that. So let's recap our scores real fast, and we're gonna head out for the night. And I have not watched a horror movie yet today, and I'm trying to watch one a day for this year's October. Yesterday was John Carpenter's The Thing and Halloween 3. I'm not sure what I'm gonna watch today. The Boogeyman movie on Hulu. I think I might watch that, or I might go old school and watch one of my favorite Universal films, Son of Frankenstein. That'll probably go for the win. I love that movie. It's my favorite Frankenstein movie.
It's a good one.
I'm gonna,
It's underrated.
well, it's got. First of all, I know we've done the shows on the like it was 2 or 3 years ago that we did them, but it's on Peacock. Oh, so that's actually streaming. But it's got the set design's fantastic. It's Karloff's last romp as the monster. Um, Lionel Atwell, Basil Rathbone. Basil Rathbone is stupendous in this role, but nobody gives enough respect to Lugosi for playing Igor in this movie. He
Oh my
is
god,
such an ass. Yeah, right.
that's my favorite. That's my favorite Lugosi performance.
Yeah,
He is fantastic in that role. I like him better in that role than Dracula.
well, he
So,
gets more to do in that, and he's such a
yeah,
fucking shyster.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm gonna still say Dracula is a little bit like it's his most iconic, so I'm gonna put it a little bit higher. But dude, people got to look at Son of Frankenstein. People love the first Frankenstein from 1931, and Bride is probably the better movie. The Pretorius is fantastic. Um, by the way, we talked about it for a second the other day about Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein film. What if Christoph Waltz was going to play Pretorius in that movie? What if that was what he's there for?
My theory is that he's going to be playing Waldman.
Mm, I like my idea better, but you're probably right.
Well,
Uh,
because I think Pretorius was made for directly for Universal. I think that's directly a
yeah, but
Universal character.
they could still do it, right? No.
I don't know if they could get that character because if it's not a character, it's been a long time since I read the book, but I don't remember Dr. Pretorius from the book.
Well,
So if
he's
it's
made
not
for the
from
movie.
the book,
Yeah.
right, it would have to be a Universal production to use that character.
Ari, you got almost got into a fight with Ari. That's weird. I've heard he's nothing but a kind guy. I have no idea. Yeah, you cannot go wrong with Universal. Can't go wrong with Hammer. I haven't seen a single Frankenstein film, but I've read the book. You should check out the main trilogy, in my opinion, the 30s trilogy: Frankenstein, Bride of, and then Son of. Uh, you never got to do Son of Frankenstein, and I love Son of Frankenstein. It's so good. I didn't see that one until I think it
Yeah.
was 2010, and I just stumbled on it on TV one day, and I was like, "Oh my god, how have I not seen this before?" It's so good.
Well, the thing with Sun though is like it's so overshadowed
Mhm.
by Bride. I mean, naturally, Bride
Yeah,
is a fantastic sequel. It's one of the
yeah,
greatest horror sequels out there. But at the same time, like people focus a lot on the James Whale films, which is fair because James Whale is an amazing director.
Hmm.
But I think Sun is just so much better than people give it credit for. And I think this is just
Absolutely.
kind of overlooked. It's overlooked.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you. It's funny because, of all the Universal movies that I love, because I love damn near all of the mainline movies, but the three posters I have are Son of Frankenstein, Dracula, and Cat People. It's like, of all, like, those are just some of the ones that I just really like fall for. Um, and I love Lugosi. I really love him. And it's funny, we didn't talk about this when we did the Ed Wood show, which I don't remember if you were there for that show or not. But my affection for Lugosi did not really start until I saw Ed Wood and Landau playing him. And like I know it's a fictionalized version of Lugosi, but at the same time, it's like it just that enhanced my love for the guy even more. And I started watching, like, I think it was Turner Classic Movies. They would do the the around Halloween every year. They would do all the Universal horror films, and they would tend to interview Lugosi's son. And I was always there with the ear, listening to everything he had to say about Bela Lugosi. Because who else would know him better than his son? Hopefully, but I don't know. Yeah, check out if you haven't seen Son of Frankenstein. If you haven't seen Frankenstein 1931, they apparently are on Peacock. God, they're a must. They are an absolute must.
Yeah.
If you could have done the next anthology after Season of the Witch, what would you have liked to see? And that's a tough question. I don't know that I have an answer
Easy.
for that. Seth does.
Do the story of Charlie Bowles.
Yes, that's right. Yes, from Russellville.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. You said that the other day, and I'm like, that's fucking brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
1963. Yep.
Same year that Michael Myers killed Judith.
Mm-hmm.
That would be good. Yeah, the whole idea that Seth and I had, or we discussed about a possible Halloween Presents TV show. It would be the anthology format, with Season of the Witch being the first season, and then that being the second season, and just kind of like an American Horror Story type thing. Every season's a new story, a new cast, all that stuff. Even though American Horror Story recycles the same cast members for the most part, which I actually like, but you know,
But and that's where you could like take Season of the Witch, right? You take Season of the Witch, you extend it for the first season of Halloween Presents, but you can now do changes so you can make it fit within the world of Halloween. You can
mm,
have it where it exists in the same world where Michael Myers, um, kills a bunch of people in Haddonfield. Like you can make it fit, and like you could like every season will be a different story, but they would all be within the same world. Like it
mm,
all happens in the same world. That would
yeah.
be what I would.
Which is the American Horror Story is like that too. Everything is within that same world, just in different
Yeah.
places, and everybody looks the same apparently. But yeah, that'll do it for us for the night, though. Good times tonight, man. I really enjoying all you guys hanging out with us. It's a pleasure. Seth hates everyone, so I don't know how he feels about it. But Reverend Sayer, that'd be an interesting story, actually. He's been fighting evil. He's been looking for it too damn long. I
It's a
mean,
pilgrim, all right.
he is a pilgrim, yeah. We'll gather at the river, the beautiful, beautiful river. All right. Anyway, he's
The
kind of
second
lovely.
time in the series where you see Loomis smile.
That's true. That's true. And he takes a swig of some alcohol, whatever it is he's drinking. I want some too. I'll have what he's having. All
Yeah.
right, Kathy, thanks for joining us. I appreciate your support. I appreciate everyone's support. We just passed over 50,000 followers on the Facebook page. We're getting closer to 1,400 on the YouTube channel. And just remember, man, we do this because we love the genre. None of us make. I'm in the negative here. I lose money on the Horror Syndicate, but you know why I do it? Because I fucking love horror movies and I love talking about them. Seth, why do you do this?
Um, I don't know. I hate horror movies.
Right.
I hate people, and I don't know why I'm here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I'm yeah, and this guy writes some bunk ass articles too. All dog shit. Every
All dog,
everyone I've read.
complete dog shit.
In is that in Halloween 5? Well, that's a wild eye Loomis anyway. Horror, yeah, horror movies good for the soul. Anyway, we'll be back next week. Coming in November, if you pay attention to the Facebook page, we are counting down our top 31 horror posters of all time, and it's a good list combined from my top 25, Seth's top 25 or 31, and then Nate's top 35. The last one I believe was Bloodstone Subspecies 2, right? Fucking badass
Yes,
poster and a good
awesome
movie.
poster.
all,
Yes,
all the subspecies movies are streaming on Tubi currently, so check those out if you haven't. I miss old school Full Moon. I'm just gonna say it right there and leave it there. Anyway, you guys have a great night. We will see you next week for some Halloween 2 action. And then we are leading up to John Carpenter's Halloween, and of course, our ranking show on Halloween. So subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. And hey, happy Halloween.